Most people think intelligence is about knowing more, but history tells a different story. Some of the smartest people didn't fail because they were wrong. They failed because they refused to change their minds. More than a decade ago, BlackBerry ruled the world. Business leaders carried it. Even the US president depended on it. Its creator, Mike Lazaridis, was not ignorant. He was a technological genius. And yet, when the iPhone appeared, he laughed. "No one wants a full touchscreen," he said. "People want physical keyboards." That single belief cost his company everything. This isn't a story about technology. It's a story about a mental trap that all of us fall into, especially smart people. Psychologist Adam Grant calls this the failure to rethink. And once you recognize this trap, you begin to see it everywhere, in arguments, in careers, in leadership, and even in your own life. For a long time, we were taught that strength meant certainty. Choose a belief, choose a career, choose a path, and hold on to it. That mindset made sense in a world that rewarded logic, efficiency, and stability. But as we explored in the previous video, in A Whole New Mind, Daniel Pink warned that this world was already changing. We were moving away from the information age into what he called the conceptual age, a world that would value design over pure function, empathy over authority, synthesis over certainty, and meaning over status. The problem was never that we learned the wrong things. The problem was that we assumed those lessons would never need to change, and that is exactly where Rethink begins. According to Adam Grant, we get stuck because we keep slipping into three familiar roles: the preacher, the prosecutor, and the politician. As preachers, we defend our beliefs like sacred truth. As prosecutors, we search for flaws in others to prove ourselves right. As politicians, we say whatever protects our image or preserves support. You see this in meetings all the time, when someone defends an idea, not because it's the best one, but because admitting doubt feels like losing face. These roles feel different, but they all lead to the same outcome. They convince us that we already know enough. And once we believe that, learning stops. So what does real learning look like? In Rethink, Adam Grant argues that it begins with thinking like a scientist. Thinking like a scientist doesn't mean wearing a lab coat. It means treating your ideas as hypotheses, not as your identity. Think about a habit, a work process, or a belief you followed for years. A scientist doesn't ask, "How do I defend this?" They ask, "What would prove this no longer works?" When scientists discover they're wrong, they don't feel humiliated. They feel curious. Because being wrong means discovering something new. This creates an important tension. If we're always rethinking, where does confidence come from? The real danger isn't ignorance, it's misplaced confidence. People who know the least are often the most certain. This is the Dunning-Kruger effect. Meanwhile, people who are truly capable often doubt themselves. The loudest voice in the room is rarely the most thoughtful one. And the person quietly preparing, checking assumptions, and listening carefully is often the one with real expertise. Adam Grant calls the balance confident humility. Confidence in your ability to learn. Humility about what you currently know. Being wrong is not failure, it's progress. This mindset doesn't just change how you think, it changes how you disagree. The Wright brothers argued loudly every day. They disagreed fiercely, but they weren't trying to win. They were trying to fly. This is task conflict, not relationship conflict. Yet one habit keeps pulling us backward. Binary thinking, right or wrong, us or them, black or white. In Rethink, Adam Grant explains why our brains default to this simplicity. Certainty feels safe. Complexity feels uncomfortable. But reality is rarely that simple. Instead of asking who's correct, ask under what conditions could each side be right. This is where A Whole New Mind helps us go further. Daniel Pink calls this skill synthesis, the ability to hold complexity, understand what is right and wrong in each perspective, and connect ideas across boundaries. This shows up when teams argue about remote work versus office work. The better question isn't which side is right, but when each works best and for whom. Changing minds is also hard because people don't change through logic alone. That's why Rethink highlights motivational interviewing. Instead of saying, "You're wrong," ask, "How would this work if things didn't go as planned?" This way of thinking matters everywhere. In education, learning deepens when students revise mistakes. In parenting, saying, "I don't know, let's find out together," teaches lifelong learning. In organizations, strength is psychological safety. NASA learned this painfully. Warnings were ignored. Pixar learned it deliberately. They designed systems for critique. The hardest beliefs to rethink are identity-based. We're taught to choose one career, one identity, and stick to it forever. But you change, and the world changes faster. Clinging to a path that no longer fits is not discipline. It's a cage. You are not your job title. You are allowed to change. In a world moving this fast, the most valuable skill isn't what you know. It's how quickly you can update what you know. Your mind is software. Don't let it run on an operating system from 10 years ago. And every so often, ask yourself a few honest questions. Which belief am I protecting because it's familiar, not because it's true? At work, which idea am I defending simply because it was mine? In my career, if I were starting today, would I still choose this path? When I disagree, am I trying to win or trying to help both of us rethink? At the beginning of Rethink, Adam Grant tells the story of the Man Gulch fire. Firefighters didn't die because they lacked courage. They died because they refused to drop the heavy tools that once kept them safe. Outdated beliefs, rigid identities, and oversized egos are those tools. Sometimes to survive and move forward, you must be brave enough to let them go.